You're listening to Dental Student Vibes. How are we doing, everybody? We've got another amazing guest on our podcast today. We're vibing. We got Brenden Gallagher. He's one of our good friends and supporters. He's getting ready to crush his D3 year at Stony Brook School of Dental Medicine starting this August. You may recognize one of his Instagram accounts that he's a partner administrator of, a couple of which are Students of Dentistry, Elite Dentists, and Top Dental Practices. Brenden's background has a flair of dimensionality. He's a violinist, a former college athlete, and a lifeguard on the weekends. He loves spreading enthusiasm and loves to be a force of motivation. We present to you this special episode of Dental Student Vibes this week with a key and underground influencer of the dental student community. We talk with him about lifestyle, getting into dental school, his life in dental school, study habits. He's a real cool guy. We loved having him on the episode, and we look forward to having him on an upcoming podcast with a couple of his classmates. Thank you guys for listening. Today we have Brenden. Brenden, how are you today?
Dental Student Vibes, my guys. How are you?
Doing awesome.
Doing well.
Brenden, so you are currently a dental student. Tell all of our listeners what year you are, what school you go to.
So I go to school at Stony Brook School of Dental Medicine right now. I'm a second year, finishing up second year. I hear a lot of guys are D3s now at this time, but we're still seeing patients and stuff through July and just kind of getting pounded by, teachers, administration, and told we're not D3s yet. So that's what's going on right now.
Good stuff. So how did you get started in dental school? Where'd you go to undergrad?
I did 2 years. It's a little bit of a journey. I did 2 years at the engineering school of NYU, and they actually cut out our athletics program. I was playing basketball there at the time.
Nice.
It was a fantastic experience. I love the diversion between athletic school. It just brings your mind out of all the books, And they actually cut out the athletics after the second year, and I was like, well, I want to keep playing. So I looked at the similar schools, and I transferred to Stevens. Played there for a year, didn't work out. So I did research my senior year instead. And it was around that time I was like, you know what? I think dentistry is where I want to go with my life. I met some dentists, an oral surgeon, cosmetic stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is the journey. This is the next step in the path. What about you guys? So Kasim, you're the first one. I heard the British accent. Now, I want to hear about your journey a little bit.
Yeah, so mine was a bit more of a non-traditional path. So I originally was interested in medicine when I was in high school or something like that. But, I think there was something that didn't stand out every time I'd shadow a surgeon or something like that. So one of my coworkers actually at the previous company that I worked for recommended me shadowing a dentist. So I went to shadow a dentist, and, it was just that first day. And I knew, okay, this is definitely what I want to do for the rest of my life, because, you kind of know when you find your passion. And then I found myself researching dentistry a lot and brushing up on things that I didn't know or I wanted to find out about dentistry. And I knew at that time there was so many appealing aspects of dentistry that I liked. Number one, obviously being able to take care of patients and making a profound effect on their lives for the better.
So
and
tell
then
me,
number
Kasim,
two,
though.
what's
You
that?
said you were shadowing medicine and didn't see. What was that spark? Because you get some of that in medicine. What was that spark that shadowing a dentist that you really saw different?
I think, you have sort of a different effect, on patients in dentistry as opposed to medicine.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it was just something that I think there was a lot of different aspects of dentistry, especially because you're not limited necessarily to just oral healthcare. You also have the cosmetic side of it. So there's multiple facets of dentistry that I really enjoy, especially the cosmetic work, which I think is really interesting and cool. So you're not necessarily confined to doing the same thing every single day. You're able to kind of dip into this or dip into that. So you have a lot of variety in dentistry, which I really, really like. And then on top of that, I like the opportunity that you have to be able to own a business in the future as well. So, owning my private practice is a huge goal of mine. So
absolutely. I actually listened to one of your guys' previous podcasts on how the DSOs are taking over. So I'm definitely with you on that. We gotta keep this to us right now. We want that private practice, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to fight back.
Hey, Brenden, it's Anthony here. I got a quick question for you. So, I'm New York born and bred. I'm from Long Island.
Oh, what part?
We could talk more about this.
Here we go.
Here we go. We'll go into things. But so I went to Stony Brook a few years ago for I was like a freshman in college. I did a 1 week like pre-dental week there, where I got to meet all the faculty and I used the facilities in the sim lab. And I just wanted to ask you about like your experience at Stony Brook. And I also want to know if a guy named Dr. Seaver was still there, because he's the man, if you will.
So that was Discover Dental School, right?
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
Tonight. I'm not a part of it, but I'm a little bit familiar. Yeah, and Dr. Seaver still runs it. Yeah.
Wonderful. But so yeah, how was your process? How was going through like your first year and two? What'd you guys take? How'd it go?
So most of our first year, it went well. It's been going great. It's nice to see a transition into clinic. As we all know, all the didactics kind of like, all right, let's see some patients now. First year, we were pretty much just at the medical school, and we basically took all their classes with them, which was great. The only thing different was the anatomy class. They kind of had us in a separate lab to kind of keep it more concentrated to everything above the torso. We went a little bit into the legs and the hands, but more so head, neck, and trunk anatomy, thoracic anatomy. Then we transitioned into second year. They brought some of the med school teachers over at the beginning to teach us like nervous system. We had physiology over at our school, but we're taught by the medical school teachers. So they translated it into our terms a little bit, which was nice. Beginning of the second year, the first half was brutal. And then come January, we started seeing patients and everything. It got a little bit lighter because they were like, all right, you're doing two things now. And slowly we've been molding into doing ops and, the whole presenting the perio, pulling teeth. I pulled my first tooth last Thursday.
Congratulations.
It was phenomenal. It was like, I didn't even need to use a 4-step. I just stuck an elevator on there, popped right out. It was great.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
So, yeah.
It's funny, we all remember our first tooth as well, at least for my case. Mine was a number 14. So I'll remember that for the rest of my life.
The lucky 14, right?
The lucky 14.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are you doing now? Where are you headed? What's next year looking like for you?
Next year, right now, I'm pretty much diving into the books again, the med school books. I'm planning to take the CBSE in August 17th exactly. And just, feeling the classic dental school anxiety, like I got to study,
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Even when you're not studying, you feel guilty like you should be.
Right.
Yeah, right? You're
Always.
like on the treadmill doing something good, or like you're cooking some good food and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? I should be reviewing my flashcards right now.
We actually read on the treadmill at the gym.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we all read
that anxiety of not studying is always lurking. So you gotta
always
take your
lurking.
time.
Does that ever end?
I don't know, man.
Maybe
I'm
at
hoping
graduation.
at some point.
Yeah, what are you
yeah.
supposed to do when you get out of dental school and you're just working? What are you supposed to do after?
Go to
work?
therapy. You know.
I feel like that's
Out.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, how are you gonna be studying for the CBSE? What are you using? Any materials? Yeah.
So I took it last August to sit on the exam, just kind of see what it's like, kind of get the feel of like, all right, let's test out the waters. And I kind of looked at it like, it's definitely doable. You just need to put in the time and study it. And what do you study? So I'm a big flashcard guy. I like Quizlet.
Right. Absolutely.
So I went through first aid, the first aid for step one. And that's what all the medical students said to use.
Mm-hmm.
So I outlined all that on Quizlet. And now I'm just kind of like,
You outlined the entire first aid book on Quizlet.
everything except for
God.
the pharmacology sections but they were like a couple pages each. I think I could just read them.
Goodness.
So it took like 9 or 10 months. Yeah. And now I'm just doing UWorld and then basically studying those outlines. So like if I do poor in, I don't know, pharmacology here, not physiology, I just go back and go through those, if that makes sense.
Nice. I haven't heard of UWorld before. Do you like that one?
Yeah, UWorld is probably between First Aid and UWorld. I've been told these are like what do they call it? Like the holy grail. You got to use these two things, or like PETFOMA is big too. But UWorld is a question bank of like they keep raising it, so probably hit 3,000 questions pretty soon. But it takes you through all like it kind of morphs your mind into thinking the way the questions are designed into the exam, if that makes sense.
Right.
Very cool. Okay, so do you mind going into the CBSE a little bit? Because for some of our listeners, they might not really be familiar with it. So what does it entail and what can it progress to after taking that?
Sure. So basically, in my gap year between undergrad and dental school, I'll just take you through like the whole and relate it to me, if that so you could get like a personal standpoint. So I worked for an oral surgeon as one of the dental assistants in my gap year, and I really kind of got the sense that this is really what I want to do. I love the cosmetic side, but I also like the structural, the bones side, the osseous side of dentistry. So in order to go into oral surgery, you have to take the CBSE. The CBSE is basically a modified, shortened version of the Step 1 exam. The Step 1 exam is the first board exam of medical school students that the students have to take. So it's a shortened version, but you need to study for it like it's for the Step 1 exam. And what does that do? That gives you a score or not a score, so you can apply to oral surgery residency programs.
Sweet.
Some good stuff right there. And you just knew that you wanted to do oral surgery? It was just kind of like clicked in your head that this was where you see yourself down the road?
Yes. And then getting in, taking the course, seeing more and more of oral surgery, seeing more and more of everything else, just kind of solidified like, this is what I want to do. And no, periodontics is not what I want to do.
A couple of, we actually took Perio 1 our first semester.
It was like our first class.
Yeah, and that was, I think it was eye-opening just because there's so much information in Perio, and it's not an easy course to begin dental school with because you really hit the ground running with something like that.
I think it was the hardest one. It was brutal.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys started with Perio.
Yeah, we were the first class to start with Perio. Like we were taking it when we were doing dental anatomy, so we didn't even know what was going on. They were just throwing Perio at us. Yeah, they changed the curriculum around a little bit, and they're just trying to test things out, and this was one of the things they decided to do.
Interesting.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you guys got through, right?
That's all that matters.
We're really guinea pigs.
Yeah, because actually they originally in the curriculum they had us taking Perio at the beginning of our D2 year. So I mean, you learn a lot in your first year of dentistry versus starting out with Perio from the get-go.
Yeah, that's a big change.
Yeah.
So how did the clinics work over at Stony Brook? I got to take a sneak peek at them when I went to the school, but it looked very high tech, very modern, some good stuff. So you mind running me through that real quick?
Actually, they're in the middle of reconstructing it right now. One of the two of the bays are completely shut down. They're putting in all new chairs. The bays themselves, they're putting up new walls. They're trying to make it wider, give it new equipment. I hope it turns out well, but it kind of squishes us all together in the rest of the the clinic. As far as so that's like, I guess, technology wise, everything seems to be fine and up to date. Everything works well. I think the best thing is as far as like starting early, we start. I've been told we start pretty early, but it's also having a smaller class size is great because you could kind of just walk over and grab an attending pretty much at leisure, and I really like that.
How many people in your class, if you don't mind me asking?
44.
Oh, that's small.
Jeez.
Nice and small, right?
Yeah, it's about half of what we have.
44.
Yeah.
What are you guys at, around 9?
We're about a little over 100, so a little more than double.
103 right now?
Yeah.
To be specific.
Yeah, so, I mean, I couldn't imagine the 200
No, because
classes.
doesn't NYU do like 200 or something like that?
They do like 300?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
There's so many people.
Did you consider NYU, Brendan?
Oh yeah, I applied there. Did I
Yeah.
consider it though? I was until I kind of did the math and saw what is it, 125 a year.
And then
Nice.
living in the city, so inflation on everything.
Oh my God! So I was like 125 versus here's around like 80 or so. I was like, yeah, I'd be stupid to pick.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, a lot of people say, you just got to get your license and get out of there because everybody kind of starts at the same point when you get out of dental school. So,
Yeah, that's what everyone says.
yeah. So why don't we talk about that? What are your plans for student loans? That's something that's on everybody's mind. Do you kind of have a plan, or have you thought about it?
It's complicated, right? Everyone keeps telling you, just don't worry about it. Just focus on school, just push it off. And it's at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, this is a weight. This is a weight on my shoulders, Before I go into that, I actually wanted to touch on what you guys were saying. You guys are a little over 100 and we're at 44. I've talked to a few programs and it sounds like 44 is great for the experience, but it's also nice having a bigger class size because look at you guys. You guys have found each other. You guys are probably brothers now. You guys started a podcast and everything. It can sometimes be harder at smaller schools to find your kind of group. And if you do find a group, it might be 1 or 2 or 3 people, not like a nice squad.
Right. We run these streets. No, I'm just kidding.
We got a really good class.
Yeah, we do.
I couldn't have asked for a better grade to be put into. I think almost everyone in our grade gets along.
Every time you say grade, I feel like I'm in high school.
All joking aside,
12th grade now.
We're in like 19th
No,
grade.
yeah, that's right. We're in,
Wow, 18th grade.
yeah.
we are very blessed though. There's no real competition. Nobody's trying to sabotage. Everyone tries to share notes and help each other if you're not understanding something. We're very good that way. We really are like one big family.
That's so lucky. That's so you gotta really cherish that. It's a great thing to have. You gotta find your group and just kind of stick with them. They stick to you. Everyone's got ups and downs through dental school. It's not all sunshines and rainbows walking through the streets of the clinic. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, dude. It's a roller coaster ride all 4 years.
Right. So you pick up someone there, and they pick you up later on. That's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Nice. And the nice thing about dental school too is we get to do clinic as well because at least the med school by us, we don't really, they talk about like they'll do a whole bunch of, osteopathic medicine type stuff with the manipulations. They don't really get to do clinic stuff where they see patients the way we do. We're in clinic already and we just became D2s. So we're hands-on. They're still, taking their basic sciences and everything, and they haven't even got to really, brush the surface with patients.
Definitely different lifestyle, right?
Absolutely.
Totally. Brenden, I want to ask you something, but before that, I just want to touch back on the point that we got a little set to ask the question about loans. So are you just trying to back burner it? It's like the elephant in the room, or do you actually have a plan coming in about your loans?
So my plan, it's the elephant in the room. No, it's an elephant in everyone's room, right? And
Absolutely.
do I have a plan? So it's kind of like indirect at the moment, but I went to one of these seminars. What was it at? It was at Annual Day for ASDA, and one of the guys was saying they do this. I forget. The company works on taking dentists and helping them get their feet wet, get the practice started, get the building,
Charles
but they
Loretta.
don't own it. That might have been it. Charles sounds familiar. I don't remember the last name. Great speaker, very enthusiastic.
Oh, that's
He
definitely
was a
I think it was
force
like
in the
Kane
room.
and Waters Associate, or something like that.
CWA.
Yeah, CWA.
CWA. Yes. I think that's it. I have the water bottle, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the white water bottle.
The white water bottle.
I
There
guess
you
the
go.
marketing works.
It does. I got this picture in my head. I remember the guy's face in the bottle. I don't remember the screen. But I was going to do something along the lines of either I network. I know some oral surgery practices in the area that I was going to go into contact. I really, like you guys said, we're trying to stick together and not go under the umbrella of the DSO. We're really trying to make it. And what he was saying was, you just got to bite the bullet. You got to go for it. You got to open up your own practice or buy in and be like a partner in something. And so that was kind of my aim. And I remember the specific example he said that really kind of hit me was when he was like, does anyone in the room have a baby? And some guy raised his hand. He's like, you. Like, okay. How's the baby doing? And the guy goes, well, He's breathing, and he's like, exactly. That's how it is when you start a practice. You just got to go for it. No one's really ready. You go for it. You make it. There are people out there to help you. You reach out to them, and you get it done. And he went through the numbers and just the way you can pay back these loans. This is the first guy that I've seen who wasn't like, don't worry about it. He was like, look at these numbers. This is how you're going to pay back your loans. This is the only way to do it. If you do the DSO, you're not looking at these same numbers. And that's about as simple as it gets. So it's not a direct, like, this is exactly what I'm going to do, this, and this, more so along the lines of like, I'm planning on taking a step in this direction, and this will solve that problem.
Right. So do you see yourself, all right, we got a couple options here, right? We got de novo synthesis of a startup. Then we have acquisition, become a partner. You could also be an associate and then go into ownership. What do you want to do?
Anything that, you have to go on interviews and we have to like get lawyers and stuff. It really depends on the opportunity that presents itself, because I don't want to look into a scene where an associate and then you have to travel to the other side of New York State to kind of open up your thing, because they're going to soak up all your patients. And if you try to start your own thing, they're going to shun you and not work with you, or they're going to work against you. Because I've heard of an oral surgeon in the area. He opened up a practice, and all of a sudden the one he was working at just kicked him out because he was an associate there or something like that. And they just literally took all his patients and said, don't come back. And I don't know. So yeah, we got to, what about you guys? I want to know what you guys are thinking about that. Do you guys have, does anyone have like a exact direction?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the plan is three of us are from Florida, one from New York, one from Texas. We're starting a tri-state DSO. That's our plan.
Okay. A little long distance.
Yeah. No, but realistically, I think all of us, because since you want to do OS, like I think all of us want to do general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think we all kind of see ourselves going into associateship for a year or so, maybe 2 years, who knows, and then kind of seeing where it goes from there. Like, everybody's got different situations, different connections, different networks. So,
and then you're going to bring it back together and start that?
I don't know about that, but we'll see how far we get. We haven't really we've only thought about like the first like couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, Brenden, do you have any like goals on when you want to have like maybe potentially your loans paid off, or when you want to own your own practice, like be the head honcho? Do you have any like set dates in mind, like a few years down the road, 10 years, 15 years, like in terms of, do you want to open up an office and then, grow it and then sell it? Or is there anything like that you want to do?
Oh, interesting. As far as being the head honcho, I think that'll come when the time comes. But as far as opening up like my own practice or something and paying off the loans, those two are what's really going to, fight at it neck and neck, because you really have to read what the opportunity is. If the opportunity is, okay, you could get a sound job as an associate and you could start paying these loans off, and he lets you work for yourself, and whenever you need help, you could just reach out and he's got you, then that's kind of your answer. But I think also what the guy Charles was saying was, if you have the opportunity in your area, like New York is pretty saturated. If you have the opportunity to, not like New York, I guess, or Long Island, to open up your own practice, really kind of go at it, then you bite the bullet. You take more loans, you open up that practice, you get a couple of chairs in there, and then you start paying it back. So I don't have a timeline. I really don't have a timeline. Sometimes you kind of have to read how things are moving. A lot of things are going towards social media, as you guys are seeing now. You brought the podcast into Instagram, which is doing fantastic, is it not?
Absolutely, man. Thank you for noticing.
Oh, yeah. You guys are killing it out here. We're all killing it. This is how we, build it together. We can make it more than a tri-state DSO, right? Nationwide. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Without borders. Let's go north to Canada. Why not? Oh, man.
Absolutely. So, Brenden, you got a couple amazing Instagram accounts. You have Students of Dentistry, Elite Dentists, and Top Dental Practices. Can you tell us just a touch about those? Because we're actually going to have a special episode coming up with you and your other fellow partners.
Yeah. So Students of Dentistry is where it all started. I run it with Cyril Manchiri, and Jason Chen. These two are my guys in my year. And the three of us kind of sat down and we're like, all right, we have an idea. Let's put it to work. You guys, I'm sure you guys all sat down at one point. Like, all right, we've been talking about this. Let's get the ball rolling. Did that happen with you guys?
Yeah.
It all starts with an idea.
Right? You guys got your microphone and you're just, all right, let's just try this out. Let's plug it in, right? And then you're like, let's start an episode. We don't have to say it. Let's just start. So that's how it started. We started posting, and then we're like, wait a minute, let's actually feature students and connect each other and like form a network that the students can go to. And like, we could feature them, they reach out to us and we'll connect them together. And so the dream was born and it took off. And then at one point I started Top Dental Practice with another classmate, Sean Czar. He's not on Instagram, so we won't be able to find him, but another one of my guys. And then I kind of do Elite Dentist to kind of connect the students, dental practices line here. And I got some more Instagram accounts in the works that I don't want to reveal yet. They're growing up.
Coming soon.
Little kids, but one day. Yeah. It's, we got to focus on the tests right now, right, boys?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, let us know. We'll give you a follow, off air. Let us. We'll do everything we can to help you.
I appreciate it, yeah.
Brenden, I want you to pace a little bit. I want to talk more about just like life stuff for a minute, because as you know, this is a stressful field, it's a stressful school, and
stressful.
You seem well balanced. You played college basketball. I think I heard that you were also a lifeguard, which is a great job for anyone who needs a summer
Weekends.
job.
Oh yeah,
best job. I just wanted to ask you how you balance your stress, how you try to balance your free time. Like, what do you like to do that keeps you not only happy but motivated to go in and crush it when you're in clinic?
That's a huge question, and I think the mental health, we all once in a while we're like, we got to take a step back and just kind of gather ourselves and go back. So do you guys want to get personal, or like how much?
Dive in, man.
Yeah, man, do it.
So stability, comfort, that's all, it's all big in the mental health. Coming into school, I was in a relationship and it was all, I thought, going fine and everything. And we went to the same undergrad, and then Stony Brook is 2 hours or more away. And I thought everything was going to be fine. We're going to work it out. About a month and a half into school, the weekend before the medical school exam, she came out and was like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. We're going different directions. This isn't going to work. So boom, just like that, single. And, single life is fun at some points. And other times it's like, wait a minute, I thought we were starting this together, And so I kind of it took, a couple months to kind of realize like, well, she wasn't going to dental school. I am. And this is kind of my path. So to go into the specifics, it really required like, okay, what do you do when you're kind of getting out of your headspace and just kind of want to do, right? And for me, that's going to the gym. I got to go to the gym. I got to go out and run, get some sunlight, run, do abs, lift weights, on and off every couple months. That's actually why I lifeguard on weekends, not because, the money helps, but $50 a week is going to pay for like, a loaf of bread or two, fill up the gas tank, and all of a sudden my paycheck's gone. But I get the free gym membership. So that's really what I do that for. Mm-hmm. And I go to the gym. I try to go almost every day. I mean, I could see from your guys' Instagram, Seth, Jesus, I'm trying to keep up with you, man, but you're just putting on mass, like you're pasting it on, like some composite and like carrying it on.
You just put dentistry and bodybuilding into one joke. That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. Yeah. Incredible.
Mental health serious. And I never realized that until that first weekend, the anxiety, and I never knew what anxiety was until that happened. And since then, I really find, we get caught up in the headspace, we get caught up in the repetitions, and you have to do repetitions in something that isn't dentistry. You got to hang out with guys that, like you guys have your group, you guys are doing something that is dentistry related, but it's completely different. You guys are connecting dentists and marketing and lawyers and going through the whole process of getting your own practice and the dental school experience. It's different. It's awesome.
Yeah. So what are some things that you do, to get into a good headspace? Do you meditate? Do you do some things like that? Do you use like I think there's an app called Headspace.
Headspace,
right?
great app.
Yeah. Are there some certain things that you like to do?
I'd like to listen to a lot of music. For one, I said Headspace. There's actually a song called Headspace. And, I don't know. It's like a deep house song. I play the violin once in a while. I got a violin in my room right here.
Nice.
Very cool.
I think the most immediate thing is like, say, you have a practical, right? You just spent 2.5 hours, rounding the edges of this crown prep, and you're like, okay, I'm just looking at something that my nose could practically touch. Now let me get out and look, see the scenery a little bit, go for a walk, run on the treadmill. I think the biggest stress reliever for me is like going to the gym and lifting.
Right. So staying active.
Agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely one of my top ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because when you're sitting down studying for a few days, you got pent up energy, so you don't just want to go to sleep. You want to translate that pent up physical energy into something else and use that.
Yeah. Have you ever tried? I used to do this when I did my master's degree. I used to have my iPad sitting on the Stairmaster or the treadmill, and I used to just go through Quizlet just for like 3 or 4 hours, just at a low pace, but like you're moving and you're studying, so it's pretty helpful.
That's funny you said that. 2 weeks ago, I did that for 2.5 hours, just going through Quizlet on fixed prosthodontic, or just going through all the chapters, and it works.
Yeah, it works, and it's like you remember it because like you're like, oh, I remember this while I was on the treadmill.
I also
think
think that when you have like that increased blood flow, like I just feel like I pick up things more when I read
100%
on the treadmill or whatever. Yeah.
Right? You're like,
it's two birds with one
okay.
stone,
Right.
Axial reduction, 1.5 millimeters. That hot blonde girl walked by. You guys get it, right?
But I love the sense of accomplishment. If I'm studying, or if I'm even reading some sort of dental book, or something pertaining to dentistry, like the business aspect of it, and when you're on the treadmill, you're on the Stairmaster and doing that, you get such a great feeling that you're being productive to the max. There's nothing else you could really be doing at that point. You're exercising the mind and the body. And it's just it's so fulfilling to me.
Oh yeah, like what else can you possibly? You're exercising and studying at the same time. It's a great combo.
Yeah, absolutely. So, wow, we've actually touched on a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
it was a good conversation we had here.
Great
We're
conversation.
going. Let's keep going. Yeah, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you went to I guess that was as the NLC, or which one did you go to?
Annual session. That was the Pittsburgh one, right?
Annual Pittsburgh.
Yes, Pittsburgh. Fantastic.
Okay.
It was a great time.
Yeah. We went to Matt Cossum and I went to NLC during Thanksgiving. Are you going to anything else upcoming?
Absolutely. I haven't looked into it yet. Usually, Joe Manzelli, he's our president here at Stony Brook for ASDA.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, end of our class, by the way. Shout out to Joe. He usually lets me know which ones are like the events I could go to, because I try to. Up until this point, I've been trying to narrow in on this exam in August. But I haven't looked into anything past August. But what's the next one? What are you guys going to?
I mean, we're trying to go to anything and everything, honestly. Like, we've got a Florida Dental Convention. It's in end of June, and we're really pumped for that. It's like everybody in the state, though. That's not just it's all the dentists, pre-dental students, and then, just legislation, everybody. So that's a huge thing in Florida. So what is the next ASDA one?
After that, I think it will be NLC.
NLC.
Yeah, NLC will be the next one. We're definitely going to go to Chicago. Are you going to be at NLC this year?
So that's Chicago. I want to go. I want to go to the next one. If it's around Thanksgiving, I don't see how if there would be a problem unless our oral pathology exams are around then. But I would love to see you guys there. You guys should definitely. We all should be going to these, because it's the ultimate network experience for what we're doing. Right? You guys can literally set up a table and just like start handing out cards, or be like, hey guys, add us on Instagram. We want to get you back right now. And then you see some people are like, oh, did you, you start a conversation, but can we have that on a podcast? Like, can we write you down right now and schedule in for something? You guys could expand tremendously from these, as I'm sure you've seen.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Some good stuff right there.
I think that's why we're looking forward to FDC a lot as well, because, that's going to be our first opportunity to really network with the people who do listen to the podcast, as well as, try and spread the word a little bit more, because we haven't been to a conference yet before we started the podcast.
Right.
I'm sorry, after we started the podcast. So this is going to be a really cool opportunity for us to really expand and get to know as many people as we can.
Right.
Yeah, that's you, and local too, right? Because that'll be around your area.
Right, exactly.
So now, have you been to like a national conference? Because the amount of knowledge that there is to learn there is, I mean, beyond. We learn something every 2 minutes. Something unbelievable has been said. Like we would write down things constantly. We had pages and pages of notes as we just from one session. Every session was 50 minutes. I mean, you're going constantly. You're so tired, and I mean, they have events and stuff at afterwards, like socials. We couldn't even make it out to some of those because we were just so tired after. Because it starts at we were up at 6 o'clock getting ready. 7 o'clock we're at breakfast, and then 8 o'clock up until every 15 minutes you get a 10-minute break, and you live for some of those 10-minute breaks because you were so busy. You're learning so much and you're enjoying it, but you're like, I just need to sit down and just let my brain decompress. But there was so much that there was to learn. You got to sit in, you got to attend the most beneficial sessions, whatever you think that you need to know, attend it. They've got something for everything. They had women in dentistry, they had immigrants in dentistry.
Matt was really into women in dentistry.
I was the only guy in that one. It's not about history, it's about herstory.
That's good. I like that one.
You went there. I peeked my head.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's great though. And listen. If you see us out there, come by.
Yeah.
Sit at the booth with us. We'll go live together. We got to get another good collaboration going.
Oh, dude, yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. And any way I could help you guys out, we could help each other. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
We can help
I
you
can't
out, man.
wait until the next one comes.
Always, we got to bring each other up.
It's lifting while you climb.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man.
Absolutely. So Brenden, can you give our audience some of the handles and any other ways to contact you?
Me personally, yeah. So at Brenden K Gallagher, that's my personal Instagram thing. That's the one way to get in touch with me. But we do a lot of featuring on students in dentistry. That's really kind of what we do. And by the way, I want to feature every one of you guys. So send me everything. We're going to get you up there pronto. And it's tough because through students in dentistry, honestly, personally, I haven't been able to keep up with getting tags and pictures. So send it to me and I'll take care of it. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. So again, for Brenden, that's at Students of Dentistry and at Elite Dentist and at Top Dental Practices. Go follow him and his different accounts on Instagram. They're all really cool.
And my partners too. We got Cyril Manchiri. It's at C Manchiri, and then Jason Chen is at Sir Chen. All right, and you can find us. We have one. We only feature ourselves once on Students in Dentistry, but guys, and we're going to connect there too.
Right. Do you have any other big plans coming up for your accounts or any other sort of social media ventures you're looking at to going into?
It's funny you say that. Yes, there is something
besides those top secret ones.
But besides the top secret, well, it has to do with the top secret ones. I'm trying to connect something together into a bigger, broader picture that we're going to get going here. I need a manager to run it all because I don't have the time to do it. But there's an idea that I'm executing. It's in the works now, and among others.
Right.
But
something just popped into my head. I'm sure you've seen all the different big influencers, like the guys who are actually dentists. And they hold all these conferences. Have you seen all of those? I don't know, Bulletproof and Arcasa's. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. You got Dr. Rice is doing big things now. You got Dr. Rubenstein in the city.
He's a
lot of people
big.
coming up.
Oh, speaking of him, how about Dr. Appa?
Dr. Appa.
That guy's crazy, man. Are you considering going to any of those conferences, those CE things that they're doing? Have you thought about that?
I would consider going to one of those, but I also have a different standpoint because personally I find my individual Instagram, it's fun and stuff, but I don't really want to portray just dentistry stuff through that, if that makes sense. I try to keep that kind of just, I don't know, Brendan's life, whatever. Well, who cares? He's holding a dog or whatever. But I like to expand more on the dentistry side through the other networks and atmospheres, kind of like how you guys are doing, where more connecting, not about like me, more about like us, like, let me feature you. Let's connect these, you would go great with that, that whole thing.
Well, hey, listen, when you really start getting into the oral surgery, I want to see some of your cases, man. I love that stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you'll have to come through. Yeah, we'll do this. That'll be a lot of fun.
Would you consider posting those on your Instagram?
We'll have to see. I don't really want to put like bloods and guts and sagittal split ramus osteotomies all over my Instagram, but we'll see what comes into
It's
fruition.
really weird. I was listening to somebody talk about this the other day, and apparently that like really boosted some people's Instagrams when because they have like practice, like Instagrams for the practice, right? Like for marketing purposes, and they'll put the actual surgeries and stuff on there, and you'd be surprised like how many like views, likes, whatever it gets. It's kind of crazy, and they're saying like that really helped their practice out.
This could be a page. You could dedicate one full Instagram page towards just your cases and the surgeries and whatnot.
There you go.
All the techniques.
That's the next one. Surgeons of dentistry.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Seriously, because I follow some of those accounts myself, and I mean, it's always interesting and intriguing because these are things you don't see in everyday life. The inside of some guy's mouth cut open. Everything's out there. It's interesting seeing. I mean, start it. Look at where are you going with this? I'm trying to get him to start this. I'm not going to oral surgery, but he is. So he can easily, start this or whatever. And then selfishly, maybe it's for me.
What's like the craziest videos is the ones where they have the giant. They're not even like any sort of dental instruments. They're just pliers like DeWalt from Home Depot, and they're just breaking calculus out of people's mouths. Those are nuts.
Like
this is the Home Depot forceps. Yeah,
you get that in your D3 kit.
It's the D3 kit. We haven't seen it. That's right.
Next year.
Sponsored by Home Depot.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, God.
All right, well, Brenden, it's been awesome having you on, man. We really appreciate it.
Guys, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure, a once in a lifetime experience. We're going to do this again though, so we could have the second and a lifetime experience. I really appreciate this, guys.
Listen, we're in.
And
Brenden, I got family in New York. I come up or whatever, and relatively close to Stony Brook as well. So if we're in the area or whatever, you guys want to link up, by all means, we'll collaborate, get together, record again.
I didn't know you were the plug for New York.
You know what? You make me from New York.
Not even from New York.
Listen, I'm well connected. It's the New York-Florida connection.
He talks to me about A&S bagels every time we talk about it.
Every time.
That's the real deal. Yeah. You got to get some bagels from
here. I don't go straight to my uncle's house. I go straight to A&S. They have my order ready. I have a baker's dozen with my name on it.
It's waiting for you. You can smell it.
Oh man.
Yeah, come on up. Let's grab a few beers, wine, whatever you guys. Let's do it. I'll get you. We got to get in with the other guys as students of dentistry, Cyril and Jason. We'd love to have you guys. Let's do it. Let's go out. Let's have a good time.
That sounds great, man. We'll make it happen.
This is how it works. All right, Brenden. We really appreciate it, man, and we appreciate our audience. You guys are awesome. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time. Love this episode of Dental Student Vibes? Head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Thank you guys, and until next time, vibe on.